So welcome everyone to the Tuesday, April 11th Planning and Zoning Commission. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call. We should have roll call. So I'm going to start roll call on the left.
Kathy Mestamaker-Harris.
June Gagney. John Meyer.
Karla Desjardins.
Ryan Bright.
Mary Ann Gennati.
Thank you. So if we can just make sure roll call is included on the next agenda. Also would be appointing alternate. So this evening I will be appointing Kathy Mestamaker-Harris for Lindsay Jocelyn. Then additions, corrections to the agenda. We do have 4 items to add under new business. Item D, 23-4TA, amendment to Section 5, floodplain management. Item E, 23-5TA, amendment to Section 8, special flood hazard. Then item F, discussion and possible action regarding CGS 8.2 subsection E. Any city, town, or borough which adopts the provisions of this chapter may, by vote of the legislative body, exempt municipal property from the regulations prescribed by the zoning commission of such city, town, or borough. But unless it is so voted, municipal property shall be subject to such regulations which the Board of Selectmen voted to send to town meeting. And then under other, we also need to schedule our cannabis subcommittee meeting in May. Do I have a motion to add those to the agenda? Motion by John.
I'll second.
Second by June. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Those items are added to the agenda under new business D, E, F, and under other scheduling the cannabis. Any citizen participation? This is the opportunity for the public to address the committee on an issue that's not a public hearing, and we had no public hearings this evening. Any citizen participation? Yeah?
I think so. I just wanted to confirm.
So if you could stand up, state your name for the record and what your comment is.
Sure, can I? My name is David Paulson. I live on 18 First Street, Plainfield. Sorry, I ran from my house. It's fine. Can I confirm on the agenda? Because I think I know the agenda, but I just ran in, so I don't want to make a comment that is out of order. Can you read back the agenda, the last item before the previous?
So the items that were added to the agenda?
Just I think the last 2 items in the agenda, because I just heard it, but I just wanted to confirm.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
So under new business, item F, discussion and possible action regarding Connecticut General Statutes 8-2E, and then we're scheduling our cannabis subcommittee meeting under other.
Okay, so the E, the statute,
Correct.
-2E. I apologize for not having had a chance to review, it's a statute, right? I have not had a chance to review the statute. But if I'm understanding this, I guess I may have to follow up with a question if that's permissible. What would be the town impact on that? If it's
Okay,
in
so
favor of?
tonight, this is not a public hearing,
Okay.
so it won't be a discussion of the public.
Yep.
It's been added for the discussion and possible action of the members of this board.
Okay.
So we will get to that on the agenda under item F.
Okay.
But there is no public comment this evening. There are no public hearings on any of the items.
Okay, cool.
But thank you for your participation this evening.
Of course.
All right. Any other citizen participation? Okay. Moving on to our unfinished old business. Item A, 23-1 SPL of Bubbles Laundry Spa, LLC, requesting site plan approval for a 50 by 60 addition in existing laundromat located at 22 Putnam Road, Assessor's Map 1CV, Block 85, Lot 24. And we have speaking for the applicant.
Thank you. For the record, Norm Tebow, Killer Wing Engineering, and I am here representing Bubbles Laundry Spa this evening. As you noted, we are seeking an addition to the existing laundromat. Even though it does say 50 by 60 addition, it's sort of oddly shaped, and the total square footage of the addition is only 1,386 square feet, just because of the configuration of the building. The area will be used to add some additional machines to the facility, and also to expand their wash and fold capacity. Right now, they've got a very small room that they do the work in. It's only about 10 by 12 feet, and they find that they've got a lot of people coming in for that wash and fold service, and they just don't have the capacity for it. As part of the plan, we are adding 3 new parking spaces to comply with the parking requirements. Also, we're showing the location of a proposed site sign, which would be 50 square feet max. He's looking to do something like stone pillars and a planking box on the bottom. So I think it'll be a rather attractive looking sign. We're also adding a couple of handicap parking signs to the 2 handicap parking spaces that don't currently have signs. Also, as part of this, we are doing a boundary line adjustment with the adjacent lot in order to be able to comply with the setback requirements. The owner of Bubbles Laundry Bar owns both of those lots, so he's basically doing a boundary line adjustment between 2 of the properties that he has. What was happening was the existing property was the existing building was non-conforming, and he was looking, and there is a driveway here. That's a paved driveway that he could utilize as well. He does, actually, the employees of the laundry spa actually park in this paved driveway over here. So it was convenient, and he may have some additional future plans for this property as well that aren't before you this evening. But in anticipation of that, we are proposing that boundary line adjustment. Sheet 2 of the plans in that set is the actual A2 survey showing that boundary line adjustment that we're proposing. That plan will be filed on the land records in order to make it official. Other than that, I think it's a rather simple project. We're not doing any new entrances from Putnam Road, which is Route 12. The plan was reviewed by both your zoning officer and by Mr. Pauly. He had some comments which we addressed, and we certainly hope you will look favorably upon this. I think it certainly adds to the business tax base of the town of Plainfield. Excuse me.
Thank you. Did staff have any other comments regarding this application?
All comments have been addressed.
Okay, and the engineering comments and the revisions were all received and filed with no additional outstanding?
Correct.
Okay. Did board members have any items for discussion on this application? Okay, there was one note for a suggested condition of approval that Mylars are to be recorded prior to receiving a zoning permit to begin construction. Okay, so hearing and seeing no other discussion on the item, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, subject to the additional condition.
Okay.
As read.
Thank you. I have a motion by John.
Second that.
Second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Application is approved. Thank you. Moving on to new business. Item A, 23-2 SPL, Ernest Colello Jr., requesting site plan approval for addition of 4 contractor storage units on property located at 169 Norwich Road, Assessors Map 15, Block 75, Lot 3A. I don't see the app, or you are the applicant. I'm sorry. All right, for the applicant, thank you.
For the applicant, Norm Tebow, Killing the Engineering Associates. We're here, obviously, this evening, this application will be accepted. We are awaiting comments from Mr. Pauly, and the plan was also submitted to the Connecticut DOT for the additional buildings. I think the commission will recall that there are currently 3 buildings that were approved on this property previously, and the addition of the parking, stormwater basin, and so forth. So this application is to add 4 more additional buildings, which would be these 2 with frontage on Route 12. And then we're going to have a paved driveway out to the rear, 2 additional buildings in the back there. We've got a series of stormwater basins to handle the flow from paved areas and rooftops. These will act as water quality basins as well as a mechanism to slow the flow and to be reviewing this. We are utilizing the same entrance that was previously approved by them, but because this is a more intensive use, it was your zoning officer's opinion that this should be reviewed by the DOT a second time. That's kind of where we are.
Okay. So it's my understanding we do have outstanding comments from town engineer on the application. So there's no action to take this evening, in my opinion, so I would entertain a motion to continue to our next regularly scheduled meeting, which will be May 9th, I believe. Memory is serving well.
Yes, May 9th.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to move it to May 9th.
Okay, so I have a motion to continue to May 9th. I have a second by Frank. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and no abstentions. So that will be continued to the May meeting.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Item B, 23-6SP, Douglas Brizzi, applicant, Zayan LLC owner, special permit requested for Town of Plainfield dog track pump station replacement at 55 Lathrop Road, Assessors Map 18, Block 13, Lot 2, located in Industrial 1 zoning district. And this is a special permit, so this would require a public hearing. So I'll entertain a motion to schedule the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to schedule it for public hearing May 9th, 2023.
I have a motion by June and a second by Kathy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, scheduled to public hearing in May. Item C, CGS 8-24 referral to consider and act on a resolution regarding WPCA North Treatment Plant improvements pursuant to Section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes. So last night, the Board of Selectmen had a resolution. Should I read the resolution into the record, or is that unnecessary? Yeah, all right, we'll do it. All right, so resolution of the Board of Selectmen. Be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen recommends that the Town of Plainfield appropriate $4 million for costs related to improvements at the WPCA North Treatment Plant, comprised of the design, construction, and installation of a replacement generator, and the design and construction of 2 secondary clarifier tanks, all as further described in analysis prepared by Fuss and O'Neill. The appropriation may be spent for design, construction, and installation costs, equipments, furnishings, materials, site improvements, survey costs, utilities, engineering fees, architect's fees, consultant's fees, administrative costs, construction management costs, legal fees, net interest on borrowings and other financing costs, and other expenses related to the project or its financing, and that the town issue bonds or notes and temporary notes in an amount not to exceed $4 million to finance the appropriation. The amount of bonds or notes authorized to be reduced by the amount of grants received for the project and not separately appropriated to pay project appropriation. Further resolved that the Board of Selectmen refers the project described above to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a report pursuant to Section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Further resolved that by copy of this resolution, the Board of Selectmen requests the Board of Finance to approve the appropriation and borrowing authorization recommended above. Further resolved that contingent upon the Board of Finance's recommendation of the appropriation and borrowing authorization for the foregoing proposal, a special town meeting to be held to consider the proposal on Tuesday, April 25th, 2023 at 7:30 p.m. at the Plainfield Town Hall. Further resolved that pursuant to Section 7-7 of the Connecticut General Statutes and Section 2-5 of the Town Charter, a referendum vote on the foregoing proposal be held at the reconvened town meeting on Tuesday, May 9th, 2023, between the hours of 12 noon and 8 p.m. The question shall be placed on the ballot under the following heading. Shall the Town of Plainfield appropriate $4 million and authorize the issue of bonds and notes in the same amount for a new generator and 2 secondary clarifier tanks at the WPCA North Treatment Plant? Further resolved that due and proper notice of the special town meeting and the referendum be given in substantially the form presented to this meeting, and a copy of which shall be recorded with and made a part of these minutes of this meeting. Further resolved that the town clerk is authorized in such official's discretion to prepare a concise explanatory text regarding said resolutions, and the first selectman is authorized in such official's discretion to prepare additional explanatory materials regarding said resolutions, such text and explanatory materials to be subject to the approval of the town attorney and to be prepared and distributed in accordance with section 9-369B of the General Statutes of Connecticut, revision of 1958 as amended, including as applicable publication in the town letter. Adopted by the town of Plainfield on April 10th, 2023, signed by Kevin Cunningham, First Selectman, Art Gagney, Selectman, Scott Gardner, Selectman, and signed and sealed in Plainfield by the town clerk on April 11th. All right. So in our packet, we have a draft resolution of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So this is another step in the process that is required under Connecticut General Statutes. Resolved that the Planning and Zoning Commission of the town of Plainfield approves the following project pursuant to section 8-24 of the General Statutes of Connecticut. Improvements at the WPCA North Treatment Plant comprised of the design, construction, and installation of a replacement generator and the design and construction of 2 secondary clarifier tanks and related work, provided that this resolution is for approval of conceptual plans only. The project is subject to and shall comply with all applicable zoning, site plan, subdivision, inland wetland, and other laws, regulations, and permit approvals, and this resolution shall not be a determination that the project is in compliance with any such applicable laws, regulations, or permit approvals. In reading the resolution, I did have just a couple maybe clarifying to add. Because we don't have a project in front of us, I would like to add the words in the first sentence where it says, Planning and Zoning Commission of the town of Plainfield approves the proposal for the following project. So just adding that clarifier that we're not approving a project, we're approving a proposal. Also in the, it looks like third paragraph, provided that this resolution is for approval of the proposed conceptual plans only, because once again, we don't have plans to review, but a proposal. And then lastly, where it says the project is subject to and shall comply with all applicable zoning, I would just want to make sure special permit was listed in the list of things that it would comply with. So all applicable zoning, special permits, site plan, subdivision. So if anyone wanted to review those additions. And did staff have any comments on the resolution? Okay.
Just what was proposed.
Okay. Any comments or questions from board members as to our role for this proposal, or this resolution, I should say? So it's just to move it to the next step. So are there any other items for discussion on the resolution? Okay, so hearing none, I'll entertain a motion regarding the resolution, and if accepting the insertion of the proposal and the special permit, if you could note that in your motion.
I'll make that motion, and with approving the proposal and the changes that.
Okay, so the revised as read.
And the special permits and the, yes.
Okay.
Language.
So I have a motion by June to accept the resolution with the revisions as read. Do I have a second? I have a second by John. All in favor of accepting the resolution as revised? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution is approved with those revisions. I'll give those to staff. All right, approved. All right, moving on to item D. 23-4TA, amendment to section 5 floodplain management of the town of Plainfield zoning regulations in association with Plainfield receiving new effective flood maps on September 7th, 2023. This would require a public hearing.
Correct.
So I'll entertain a motion to schedule that public hearing.
I'll make a motion to schedule it at our next meeting.
Okay?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by John to schedule to May 9th, second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Scheduled to public hearing. Item E, 23-5TA, amendment to Section 8, Special Flood Hazard Areas, Floodways of the Town of Plainfield Subdivision Regulations in association with Plainfield receiving new effective flood maps on September 7th, 2023. This also requires a public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we schedule that at our next meeting on May 9th.
All right, motion by John.
Second that.
Second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, scheduled to public hearing. Discussion and possible action regarding CGS 8-2E. Any city, town, or borough which adopts the provisions of this chapter may, by vote of its legislative body, exempt municipal property from the regulations prescribed by the zoning commission of such city, town, or borough, but unless it is so voted, municipal property shall be subject to such regulations which the Board of Selectmen voted to send to town meeting. So I wanted to add this to the agenda because I wanted to make sure that all members were aware that the Board of Selectmen has scheduled a, well, hasn't scheduled yet, but has voted to send to town meeting a question regarding whether town property should be exempt from zoning regulations, so that the proposals that we see before our board would not include town property. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, and if you had any items for discussion on that, as soon as the town meeting is scheduled, we'll be sure to make sure you have that information as well. So that would be taking town property out from under the purview of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then if the commission wanted to put forward any kind of statement regarding the opinion of whether you feel town projects should continue to come before the Planning and Zoning Commission, I think as elected officials, it would be prudent of us to weigh in on that topic.
What's the purpose of this? I mean, why would we want to do that?
Mr. Cunningham, if you'd like to address that question, please.
The question was, again,
What is the purpose of exempting the town from zoning regulations?
okay, the discussion that we had before about this was, when have we had anything come in front of the planning and zoning and for town property for any projects? The answer is none. You said you've been here for 20 years, close to 20 on P&Z. We have not brought anything forward.
And I would say if we've done something wrong, we shouldn't continue to do something
Who said it was
wrong.
wrong?
Because we have zoning regulations in the town, and it specifically says in the regulation that municipal projects are subject to it.
Okay.
So if it was not enforced or completed in a proper fashion,
Oversight, you don't have anything, you know what's going on in town, but you don't bring it to the meeting and ask for, the staff to help you bring it.
and as a selectman of this town and understanding our role as well, having discussions that impact the function of our board would also be a good practice to do. So moving forward, we'll make sure there's better communication between staff and the boards and commissions.
All right.
Absolutely.
That was part one. Part two was cost. You understand the cost that will be applied to this. So in other words, if we're looking to put up a town building on town property, going through all of the steps that everyone else has to go through is understandable, but it adds more cost to the whole project. It also adds length of time. We follow all the guidelines, but it's just a matter of, for one project now, we'd be paying a lot more money for that. I mean, look at the proposed budget for upcoming year. You're looking at a lot of projects that are now on the table. And added cost is going to make it so that I have to make cuts in my budget somewhere else.
Thank you for providing your input.
Thank you.
As a member of this board for as long as we have been, I would say that it's important that projects come before and are presented to the public for their scrutiny and their review. Faster and cheaper is not always better. And if a policy, practice, regulation has not been followed in the past, it should not be repeated, it should be corrected, and moving forward, we all have a role in that. Are there any other items for the board to to discuss on this? And did you want to put forward any kind of statement as to whether you felt that the town should continue to be subject to planning and zoning regulations?
I would. I strongly opposed to an exemption for the town. There's so many properties in this town. We have the people that live near town properties and buildings would not be, they would not be notified if there were going to be changes in their neighborhood. I believe, right? If you,
It wouldn't be the same notification process that zoning requires.
So that bothers me. And safety, if things are done improperly for the future, always look into the future, that anything you do on town property is going to affect generations to come. So, I'm personally, I don't know, looking at the regulations and that are put forward at a meeting and the requirements, I think that the town should not be exempt.
Yeah, I'm concerned about any diminishment of the authority of this board, because once it's given away, you're not going to get it back.
Correct.
It just doesn't matter, principle.
Sure. Kathy and Frank, do you have any thoughts you want to share on the topic?
I agree, I don't think the town should be exempt.
Thank you.
I'm just now hearing about this, so I'll just listen.
Sure. And I will say, I noticed this issue in the meeting minutes of the Board of Selectmen. So I also take issue with the fact that planning and zoning was not notified or informed that they were trying to take part of our authority away. So this evening, we've discussed it. We could have possible action. The action could be something as simple as a motion affirming that the Planning and Zoning Commission wants to oppose the exemption. So that could be a motion that's made. We could also do formal resolution. So if the board wanted to do a more formal resolution, we could certainly do that. So we can do a simple motion to oppose the exemption so that it's stated on the record the position of the board. Or we can do something more formal, but it's ultimately up to board members how you want to proceed on this item.
Saying we could actually make it official.
It would be a statement of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
In writing.
Correct.
In writing,
Yeah,
And then we have to vote on it.
correct.
Okay.
Yep. So like I said, the motion could just be as simple as the Planning and Zoning Commission opposes,
Opposing that.
opposes the exemption of town projects from zoning regulations.
So with this, if we were to do a resolution, would that be something we would do tonight, or would we have it drafted?
We can do it tonight because I had a resolution drafted. Yeah,
I'm not prepared to vote for that.
that's okay. And I'll read it, and if members want to motion it, they can. If they want to
Carry this
vote.
till to be addressed in May. Give me some time to look at what's going on here. and to talk to
So
our selectmen.
the town meeting will be scheduled, likely be scheduled before our next meeting.
Then we'll let the town decide.
And they actually, but I think we're elected officials, so we should inform the town of what
I
our
should be
opinion
informed
is.
as an elected
Oh,
official.
I agree. I completely and
Like I said,
totally agree.
I can't vote on it right now.
Okay.
I don't even know what's going on.
Sure. So what I would say is I'm going to read this, and then board members can decide if they want to make a motion to approve it. You can vote yes, no, or abstain
All right.
if a motion's made, and the motion would have to be seconded to be followed through. And I will say I wasn't in attendance at the meeting last night. I was not there for the part of the meeting because I couldn't get here fast enough. But I did send an email to the Board of Selectmen to be read on the record with my own personal opinion. I was not speaking for the board because we had no opportunity to speak about it.
To be clear, they're requesting an exemption in this case. Not
Correct.
a change to a charter or procedures or regulations or
Correct.
text amendments.
They're asking to exempt town projects from zoning requirements.
For what period?
Eternity. It would be for the duration unless another vote was taken to reinstate, which I think John brought up a great
And
point.
who's approving or disapproving authority on that request?
Sorry.
It's
The
gonna,
town?
it's gonna go to legislative body, which, the selectman indicated he felt it was the Board of Selectmen. The other selectmen felt it was town meeting, so it was put to town meeting,
Okay.
but not scheduled yet. So let me just read and you guys can decide. So whereas the town of Plainfield adopted zoning pursuant to CGS Chapter 124 on September 25th, 1972, and whereas the town of Plainfield Planning and Zoning Commission is the agency authorized to regulate within the limits of the municipality the height, number of stories, and size of buildings and other structures, the percentage of the area of the lot that may be occupied, the size of yards, courts, and other open spaces, the density of population, and the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for trade, industry, residence, or other purposes, including water-dependent uses, as defined in Section 22A-93. And the height, size, location, brightness, and illumination of advertising signs and billboards, except as otherwise provided in the statute. And whereas the zoning regulations are designed to A, lessen congestion in the streets, B, secure safety from fire, panic, flood, and other dangers, C, promote health and the general welfare, D, provide adequate light and air, E, protect the state's historic, tribal, cultural, and environmental resources, F, facilitate the adequate provision for transportation, water, sewerage, schools, parks, and other public requirements, G, consider the impact of permitted land uses on contiguous municipalities and on the planning region as defined in Section 4-124I, in which municipality is located. H, address significant disparities in housing needs and access to educational, occupational, and other opportunities. I, promote efficient review of proposals and applications. And J, affirmatively further the purposes of the Federal Fair Housing Act 42, USC 3601, etc., as amended from time to time. And whereas the Town of Plainfield Board of Selectmen has voted to move the question to town meeting by authorizing Connecticut General Statute Section 8-2E, the legislative body of the Town of Plainfield hereby declares that all real property owned by the Town of Plainfield is and shall be exempt from the zoning regulations. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Plainfield Planning and Zoning Commission, by vote of its membership on April 11th, 2023, opposes exempting town-owned properties from having to comply with the zoning regulations and has authorized Karla Desjardins, its chair, to endorse the resolution on behalf of the body. So the options before you. You can choose to do nothing. You can choose to make the simple motion to oppose, or you could choose to adopt the resolution to put. Is what I have for you this evening.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution
Okay.
as written.
I have a motion by June to adopt the resolution as written.
I'll second that.
I have a second by John. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We have a unanimous vote on the resolution, which I will sign, and I want to thank all of you for your very thoughtful consideration of your elected duty and statutory authority, so thank you. And I'll submit that for the record. Thank you. All right, moving on to reviewing and acting on the minutes of the March 22nd, 2023 meeting. Are there any items for modification, revision in the minutes?
I didn't see anything. Was that Doty that made the minutes? Because I didn't see who's on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
All right, I didn't see anything.
Oh, she did sign the back.
Oh, she did?
Yep, it does say she signed it. All right, so I also had no revisions. So hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on the minutes.
I'll move to accept as written.
I'll second.
Motion to accept by John and a second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are accepted. Do we have any correspondence?
I have 2 copies from the Department of Transportation, District 2, Plainfield Planning and Zoning Commission copies of letters sent to Advantage Utilities approving their proposal and plans for work at the Lathrop Road overpass and the Plainfield Pike 14A overpass with some conditions.
Okay, so no action, just receive the correspondence. Okay. Report from zoning enforcement.
Okay, 14 Canterbury Road for junk vehicles and equipment on property. A letter was sent out saying that we need full compliance by May 1st, or we will proceed to court. I was contacted yesterday via email from the property owner, and he is back in town this week and will continue to clean up. So hopefully that'll be in compliance by the first next month. 3244 Norwich Road, Village of City Savings. We are still in court with this. 13 Simmons Ave, motor vehicle junkyard. We are actually going out to bid in 2 weeks to clean up the property. Carbox Road Extension for a junkyard, and there is no activity on that. 256 Spalding Road, RV is dwelling, and commercial tractor trailer boxes and job site trailer. We did just receive judgment today from courts, and we'll be having a hearing of damages in the next few weeks or so. 552 Squaw Rock Road for junkyard. We did receive so that is proceeding with court. I have to make an inspection of the property to assess, and they will have a short period of time to clean up whatever is remaining. Zero Community Ave Extension, mulch operation, nothing new to report like that. 104 High Street, Gerard Junkyard. Property owner said that cleanup will begin when the lawn dries out, so hopefully that will begin soon. 201 Pickett Road, sheds and setbacks and dump trucks. They had until yesterday to comply, and I have not been out there to see if they have complied. 9 Lake Street, Oswald trailer, possibly as a dwelling. They were supposed to contact me. They did. I have to get in touch with them. Log of 286 Black Hill Road, tractor trailer. They are putting the house on the market, so hopefully that will take care of itself in the near future. 787 Squaw Rock Road, unpermitted apartment. The property owner converted a kennel to an apartment without permits. They have applied for a zoning permit to convert it to a workshop and storage area, so inspection will be performed once that work is completed.
So the apartment's being removed and converted?
Yes.
Okay.
They do not have permission to hook up to the sewer or a septic system, so they're going to be removing the plumbing as well.
Okay. Report from planning and development.
Just in addition to my written report, I just want to add another update on the Interroyal site. I'm in the final steps of preparing a $4 million abatement and cleanup grant for the property, which is due on Friday. It will not take care of all of the problems, but if approved, it will greatly move it forward. We do have an interested developer who is partnering with the town, and once the property is cleaned up, he has prepared a conceptual plan for development, and he's looking to take over the tax lien from the town on that property. Also, there is an affordable housing seminar webinar coming up on April 26th from 4 to 5 p.m. for any members who have not made their 1-hour quota for the affordable housing training. And if you let me know, I can sign you up.
And am I correct that the All-Day Bar Association did not have the full affordable housing requirement met? Is that right?
Yes, it did.
They did? Okay.
It
All
did.
right. Well, I don't want to attend if I'm all set.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the only ones here that have not met the affordable housing are John, Kathy, and Frank. Kathy is new, so she wouldn't have. John is
So then
signed up.
Lindsay added to that list as
Yeah,
well.
and I've got Lindsay down as well, and
Great.
John has already signed up.
Perfect.
So if you want me to sign you up, please let me know, and I'd be happy to do so.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to other, so the added other was to schedule our cannabis subcommittee meeting. So you may recall, we suspended the subcommittee in order to gather more information so that members could be more comfortable making their decision. I understand Mary Ann's continued with the survey of towns, and almost all have replied now?
Yeah, I'm down to like 14.
Okay, all right. So we would need to schedule when we want to restart cannabis meetings. We can schedule them on a different night than our meeting. We can schedule them before our meeting. We could also put them as other at the end of our meeting. It's whatever the board wants to do, what your schedule allows, and what you think would work best.
Can we schedule like May 9th at 6 o'clock or something like that?
I mean, that works for me. Is that
I can't do those.
Too early?
VFW on Tuesdays from 6 to 6:45.
okay? So that's too early. Okay. So we could add it to a normal agenda item as other, or we can schedule a special meeting a separate day.
Well, that would be good, as other,
Yeah.
regular meeting.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So are there any particular days that stand out to you that you think would be a good day to meet? And when this, I think this room is available the fourth Wednesday of the month?
I'll check.
Okay. I did look at the municipal calendar today, and I want to say the fourth Wednesday was a available night.
If they don't have a line dance.
In the auditorium? So we could also meet in the multipurpose room? So either room
If
availability?
they don't have Girl Scouts,
Okay.
There's an ag, fourth,
checking it out.
I think they're fourth Wednesday. Ag,
Oh, I thought they were fourth Tuesday.
they moved to Wednesday.
Oh, did
They
they?
were Monday, they moved to Wednesday.
Oh, or are they third Wednesday? Because weren't they the same night as our special meeting, which I think we did the third
I
Wednesday?
think they're fourth,
Yeah?
I think so.
Okay. I know those of us who think we have it memorized, right?
Because we're fourth Monday,
Yep,
and they were always the same night as us,
gotcha.
fourth Monday.
Understood.
And they moved to Wednesday, we could start going.
Sure.
You can do a lobby.
Oh, that's true, right out by the fireplace in the lobby.
Oh, that's good.
So that would work.
I like that.
It's a nice spot, and it's a subcommittee meeting, so we only have one agenda item, and that's to discuss the cannabis. So if that works for members, the fourth Wednesday, and do you want to start that this month or start it in May?
Start this month.
Want to start this month? Or do you want to start in May to allow those 14 towns to get their info to us?
Yeah, that would be great
Yeah.
if we could.
What night were we talking
The fourth Wednesday, starting in May.
about? This one,
Okay, so we'll start it in May.
if that's okay.
And
Well, we
time?
still have 14 towns that haven't replied to the survey, so that gives them a little more time too.
24th of
So-
May.
Of May, yes.
What time?
7 o'clock lobby? Unless another room's available, but lobby
I'll check it
works.
right now, make sure she didn't.
Yeah, lobby works. All right, so does that work for everybody? Fourth Wednesday, 7 o'clock, lobby or other room availability. All right. Could I just have a motion to schedule
I'll
that?
schedule, I'll make that motion to schedule it for May 24th, Wednesday at 7:30. Did you say 7:30?
Nope, 7 p.m.
7 p.m. in the lobby.
Okay. I have a motion by June, second by Frank. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so we will recommit the cannabis meeting starting in May. And last item, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion by John to adjourn,
I'll second.
second by June. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, everybody. Meeting is